In our minds, the ocean is a sunlit space, vibrant with the colors of coral reefs and brilliant life. But today, our path leads beyond this familiar image, into the depths, hidden from the light. We will journey into the twilight world, where living creatures become transparent, and in the eternal darkness ignite their own lights. We will reach the midnight zone, where evolution has taken the most unimaginable paths, creating radically different forms of life. And finally, we will travel to the abyss itself, where life exists in defiance of our every assumption, feeding not on the light of the sun, but on the energy of the planet's incandescent core. The ocean is an alien universe, yet it is here on Earth. Our journey begins.
This is Mars, a planet hundreds of millions of kilometers away from us. And yet, despite this colossal distance, humanity has mapped 100% of its surface with incredible detail, down to a few meters. We know every canyon, every mountain, and even the channels of ancient rivers where water may have flowed billions of years ago. And this is the James Webb Space Telescope, the pinnacle of modern scientific achievement. With it, from its position in deep space, we have been able to look back 13.5 billion years into the past and see a galaxy as it was just 300 million years after the Big Bang. Why these comparisons? Because the map of our own planet's ocean floor is, for 75% of its area, nothing more than a blurry, pixelated spot derived from satellite data. Yes, there is an international initiative, Seabed 2030, which aims to create a complete map of the seafloor, but as of today, only a quarter of it has been surveyed in detail. And here lies a crucial distinction. This is only the topography. Surely, we can agree that knowing a mountain exists and knowing who lives upon it are two fundamentally different things.
But even more important is to comprehend the scale that eludes our perception. The oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface. Looking at a map, we see a flat plain, but the ocean is a volume, an average depth of 4 kilometers from the surface to the very bottom is filled with life. It is a gigantic, three-dimensional world. If we were to re-evaluate the planet in terms of the volume available for life, we would realize that we, the inhabitants of the land, occupy merely a tiny film of the biosphere. Imagine if gravity vanished on land and life, no longer pressed against the ground, filled the entire sky, all the way to the edge of space. This is precisely how the ocean is structured. We are accustomed to a world full of light and greenery, but in reality, more than 90% of our planet's living space is not a paradise garden, but a gloomy, cold, and hostile place. And this raises a logical question. How well do we truly know our own home? If we ask where a human has physically been, where a robot has descended, where we have taken soil samples and seen life with our own eyes, the figure is truly frightening, less than 5%. Consider this, 95% of the world's ocean floor has never been touched by a human foot or the manipulator of a robot. Right now, down there, entire ecosystems, giant mountain ranges, and forms of life that we do not even suspect. To put it simply, we live in an apartment where we've explored the balcony, but have no idea what is happening in the living room.
Why did this happen? It all comes down to the three main adversaries that await any explorer in the deep. The first adversary is pressure. The ocean is a gigantic press. Every 10 meters of descent adds an entire atmosphere of pressure. At a depth of 1 kilometer, that's already 100 atmospheres. And at the deepest point, the Challenger Deep, the pressure is 1,100 times greater than at sea level. To comprehend this nightmare, imagine trying to support the weight of 50 fully loaded Boeing jets, or 2 Eiffel Towers stacked one on top of the other. And this weight doesn't just press down from above, but from all sides, on every square centimeter of your body. This is why explorations require crude spheres made of titanium or special steel, with an internal diameter of only about 2 meters, where the pilot is forced to kneel just to fit inside. Every such dive is an incredibly expensive and risky endeavor. The second adversary is radio silence. This is perhaps the biggest problem. Radio waves, upon which our entire civilization operates, rapidly decay in water. At a depth of 5 or 10 kilometers, there is no GPS, no cellular service, no Wi-Fi. You can't simply pick up a phone and talk to the pilot as you would with an astronaut on the ISS. Recall how difficult it is to communicate with submarines. This means that direct contact with researchers at great depths is nearly impossible. The third adversary is utter darkness. Sunlight penetrates the water column to about 200 meters. Below that, from 200 to 1,000 meters, begins the so-called twilight zone. There is light here, but it is too faint for photosynthesis and visibility is extremely limited. If one dares to venture even lower, we enter a realm of absolute darkness, the midnight zone. This is a gigantic black void, larger in volume than all other habitats in the world combined. And beneath it lie the abyssal plains, endless underwater wastelands that cover half of the entire ocean floor. And all of this colossal, boundless space is teeming with life. But this life obeys entirely different, almost alien laws. In fact, right here on Earth, a parallel universe exists. A world where time flows differently, where evolution has followed a path we can barely even imagine. This is a place inhabited by invisible beings that dissolve completely in the water, and by predators that ignite their own lights in the eternal darkness to lure their prey. Here exists a mind unlike our own, an intelligence distributed throughout the entire body, and organisms that live not by the sun, but by feeding on the energy of our planet's core. We spend billions searching for extraterrestrial civilizations in deep space, and yet they are here, swimming right beneath us. They hold the secrets to the origin of life, secrets we are only just beginning to guess. Welcome to the ocean. Let us descend together into this abyss and discover what it hides. We begin our descent. The first 200 meters, the epipelagic zone, or the sunlit zone. This is the only layer of the ocean penetrated by sunlight, where, thanks to photosynthesis, the foundation of the entire food web is formed. At first glance, this world seems familiar to us, but the openness of this space dictates its own extremely harsh rules. There is almost nowhere to hide, only the blue abyss for many kilometers around. Therefore, evolution has taken a special path, developing not only speed, but also outstanding intelligence.
Bottlenose dolphins, or simply dolphins, we are used to seeing them in oceanariums as eternally smiling friends of humankind. But this smile is merely an anatomical feature of their jaw. In the wild, their behavior is far more complex. In the ratio of brain mass to body mass, they are not far behind humans, and they use this resource to its fullest. Their primary tool is echolocation. Using a fatty lens in their forehead, known as the melon, they focus acoustic clicks and, by analyzing the reflected signal, create a detailed acoustic picture of the world. It is almost impossible to hide from them. Dolphins have self-awareness and a culture of communication. At birth, each receives a unique signature whistle, an analog to a name. High intelligence has also given rise to a highly complex social structure with empathy and mutual support. For example, if a dolphin is injured, the pod does not abandon it, but instead pushes it to the surface so it can breathe. But there is a dark side. They can form gangs to eliminate competitors and even attack porpoises not for food, but to clear their territory. There are known cases of dolphins playing with poisonous pufferfish, forcing it to release microdoses of a neurotoxin to achieve an effect similar to a mild narcotic intoxication.
Orcas. If dolphins are the street gangs of the ocean, then orcas are the elite special forces. A crucial distinction: the orca is not a whale, but is in fact the largest species of dolphin and an absolute apex predator. They are feared by all, even the great white shark. Their secret lies in education. Orcas possess what biologists call culture, skills passed down not through genetics, but through teaching. Their pods are matriarchal, ruled by older grandmother females who teach the younger generations the most complex hunting tactics. Different families specialize in different prey and even speak their own distinct dialects. They are capable of incredible coordination, such as creating a wave to wash a seal from an ice floe. Despite their fearsome status, in all of recorded history, there has not been a single confirmed case of a deliberate attack on a human in the wild. They are conservatives when it comes to food, and humans are simply not on the menu.
The blue whale, the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth, more massive than any dinosaur. Its tongue alone weighs as much as an elephant, and a basketball could easily fit through its main artery. But the most astonishing thing about them is their voice. In water, where sound travels 4 times faster, they communicate over distances of thousands of kilometers. They have their own hit songs. In 1 year, all the whales in an ocean will sing one melody, and the next year they learn a new one. These giants nearly vanished due to whaling. In the 19th century, their blubber was used to light the streets and lubricate machinery. Their salvation came not from ecological awareness, but from the discovery of kerosene, which made the perilous hunt for whales unprofitable. In the open ocean, evolution has produced other interesting solutions. Flying fish, escaping from predators, catapult themselves out of the water and glide above the waves. But in the air, birds lie in wait. Cat sharks possess biofluorescence. They absorb blue light and re-emit it as green, likely for communication. And the kobudai, or Asian sheep's head wrasse, known from viral videos, has an astonishing life cycle. Each individual is born female, but upon reaching a certain size, it isolates itself
and after a few months transforms into a large, aggressive male with a bulbous forehead, who then takes control of the harem.
Cephalopods. These are creatures that truly look like aliens. The giant Pacific octopus possesses the largest brain among invertebrates, and 2/3 of its neurons are located in its tentacles, each of which can think for itself. Lacking a skeleton, a 50-kilogram octopus can squeeze through an opening the size of a coin. The cuttlefish is another genius of camouflage and deception. It hypnotizes its prey by creating pulsating color patterns across its body. Interestingly, cuttlefish successfully pass the marshmallow test for self-control, a test that even many adult humans fail. Sea turtles. They saw the dinosaurs and outlived them. Their superpower is a built-in GPS. A turtle can swim thousands of kilometers and return to the exact same beach where it was born 30 years earlier to lay its eggs, navigating by the Earth's magnetic field. The sperm whale. It is the link between this sunlit world and the darkness. The largest toothed predator, it breathes air but hunts at depths of up to 2 kilometers, where in the absolute darkness it battles another giant of the deep, the giant squid. We can only judge their battles by the scars on the sperm whales' bodies. It is the sperm whale that will be our guide to the next level, as the sunlit zone comes to an end.
We cross the 200-meter mark. The sun's reign comes to an end. Welcome to the mesopelagic, or the twilight zone. The water here is a deep blue, almost black. This is the most mysterious layer of the ocean. During the Second World War, military sonars began to detect a false bottom at a depth of 400 meters, which would mysteriously disappear at night. Only decades later did it become clear. This was not the seafloor, but billions of living creatures hanging in the water in a wall so dense it reflects sound waves. Here, where there is 1,000,000 times less light, evolution has turned eyes into highly complex optical instruments. The colossal squid possesses eyes the size of basketballs to detect the faint glow of plankton disturbed by a predator. Hatchetfish have tubular, telescopic eyes perpetually aimed upwards to see the silhouettes of prey against the dim light from above. And the barrel eye, a creature with a transparent dome on its head, inside of which are 2 bright green spherical eyes. In their normal mode, they look vertically upwards through their own skull, but when attacking, they rotate forwards.
In the twilight, where there is nowhere to hide, invisibility is the key to survival. The cystosoma, a giant crustacean, is almost completely transparent. Its tissues have the same refractive index as water, and its carapace is covered with a nanostructure that functions as an anti-reflective coating. At a depth of 700 meters lies the oxygen minimum zone. The vampire squid, despite its name, is a passive creature adapted to the lack of oxygen. It does not hunt, but instead uses sticky filaments to collect marine snow, the falling remains from above. It is here that deep-sea gigantism thrives. Familiar creatures transform into titans. The giant isopod, a relative of the common woodlouse, grows to the size of a football. But the main feature of this world is bioluminescence, living light. About 80% of the local animals glow. The dragonfish, Stomidae, has learned to emit red light, invisible to most deep-sea creatures, which gives it an unseen advantage when hunting. The Atolla jellyfish, in case of danger, triggers a wave of light, like a siren, attracting a larger predator that might eat its attacker. Every night, the great vertical migration takes place here. Billions of tons of biomass rise to the surface to feed. This process functions as a biological carbon pump, transferring carbon from the atmosphere to the deep and mitigating climate change. We know very little about this zone. According to estimates based on environmental DNA analysis, 90% of the species inhabiting this depth have not yet been described by science. We find their genetic traces in the water, but we do not know what they look like.
We cross the 1,000-meter mark. Absolute eternal darkness begins. The pressure here is monstrous, but the local inhabitants have adapted. They have no swim bladders. Their bodies consist of water, and special substances in their cells protect proteins from deforming. Hunger is the main problem. The gulper eel, also known as the pelican eel, can unhinge its jaw into a gigantic funnel to swallow prey larger than itself. Deep-sea anglerfish have solved the problem of finding a mate in a radical way. A tiny male, upon finding a female, bites into her body and over time fuses with her completely, transforming it into a living appendage for producing sperm. This place is also home to wondrous creatures, such as the Dumbo octopus, the deepest living octopus soaring through the abyss with fins resembling ears, and the Greenland shark, which lives for more than 400 years, one of the slowest and longest living vertebrates. Finally, we reach the bottom, the abyssal plains. These are endless deserts of ooze, dominated by holothurians, or sea cucumbers, the living vacuum cleaners that process organic matter. Occasionally, an event occurs here, a whale fall. The carcass feeds the ecosystem for decades. First, scavengers consume the flesh, and then zombie worms, or osedacs, settle on the bones. Lacking mouths or stomachs, they burrow into the skeleton and dissolve it, reaching the fat hidden within.
In 1977, black smokers were discovered, hydrothermal vents around which life thrives, independent of the sun. Instead of photosynthesis, chemosynthesis works here. Giant tube worms, Riftia, live in symbiosis with bacteria that feed them by processing hydrogen sulfide. And the scaly foot snail, Chrysomalin, builds its shell from iron sulfides, creating true metal armor. At the deepest point, the Challenger Deep, 11 kilometers, where the pressure exceeds 1,000 atmospheres, there is also life. The Mariana snailfish, a fragile-looking creature, is the deepest living fish. But even here, at the most inaccessible point on the planet, humanity has arrived. A few years ago, a research submersible stumbled upon a plastic bag at the bottom.
Humanity is obsessed with the stars. We know the map of Mars better than the topography of our own planet. But the most alien and unexplored world is not in space, but just 11 kilometers beneath the surface of the water. We search for proof of extraterrestrial life, yet here, in our own ocean, are creatures that feed on poison, live under unimaginable pressure, and communicate with light in the eternal darkness. They are the living proof that life is possible even in the most hellish conditions. The ocean is our inner cosmos, vast, frightening, and almost untouched. As of now, we have seen less than 5% of this world with our own eyes. And this means that the most important discoveries in human history are still ahead of us.